are here because the outside world rejects you.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another podcast. Today we're going to be covering the new Ninja Turtle show, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which recently dropped on Paramount Plus. I'm back with one of my co-hosts, Isaac. How are you doing?
Doing good. I'm excited to talk about this 12-episode series.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I liked all the episodes.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
There's definitely some that I liked more than others.
Yes.
I'm sure you felt the same way. And let's kind of just start off at the top. By the way, we did put out a post having the fans, the subscribers here, let us know what they felt about the show. We'll go ahead and read those at the end of this conversation here. But let's talk about what we thought about. First, the intro for the show. What'd you think?
I felt like it was lacking the lyrics. I feel it didn't make me want to start a new episode how an intro should.
Yeah, the old Ninja Turtle shows, at least up until this point, each one has like their own iconic theme song. You're right, this one's kind of missing something, and it's the lyrics.
It's the lyrics.
That's what everybody keeps saying in the comments. I've seen it on all the different socials and stuff, and I think I kind of feel the same way. I like the beat.
I like the beat as well. They could have added some...
I feel like they could have done like a punk rock version.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a punk rock beat. They could have done like a punk rock version.
Because everyone knows the classic song. Everyone knows the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle song.
Yeah, so we'll see if they change that up next season. But that was probably one of the small things that we saw just from the get-go, where we were like, maybe it needed lyrics there.
Yeah.
Then we jump in. Okay, so the season is split into two distinct halves. There's the first half where the Turtles deal with Bishop and her Mechazoids. And then there's the second half of the season, which deals with like a flood going on in the city, and then this group called the East River 3, which are 3 fish or 3 sea creatures.
Brand new, right?
Yeah.
Never been used before.
No, these are brand new characters. Bishop is a character that has come out in previous versions, but the character is a little different in this iteration, and we'll talk about all that.
All right.
And so let's talk about the first half of the series.
Okay.
So the first half of the series, the Turtles are split up the way that the synopsises and all that were saying before the show had come out. And what did you think of the Turtles being split up like this? Did you like it, or did you like it better when they were all together, or did it work for you?
I enjoyed it. I like how it gave them a little bit of alone time so we could see their characters develop differently and see what they were like.
Yeah.
Separate as a group. Like, because in the whole movie, they were there together.
Right.
They were together, and there was no time away to where I could see Donnie be himself or Mikey be himself.
That's true.
So I enjoyed that aspect for the first half.
For the first half, yeah. Which turtle did you like better? Like which solo mission did you like better out of the...
It surprised me, but I liked Donnie's the most.
Me too. I think Donnie, I liked him in the movie, and I like him here in the show. And I thought his episodes, I like him and Raphael's episodes the best. Mikey's was pretty cool too. For Leo was one of the stronger ones in the movie for me. For some reason in the show, it just, the other characters landed a little better for me, just in the show. And let's start off. First episode is Leonardo's episode. It's called Leonardo, based off the joke, stands alone. This is the joke from the movie where they call him Nardo.
I remember.
And this episode starts off, big thing that I keep seeing people talk about in like message boards and like social media. Is this even canon in the Mutant Mayhem universe?
I was very confused throughout the whole show. I didn't know whether this was happening or a story.
In somebody's head.
Is it the Turtles telling the tales for real?
Yeah.
Or is it fake stories? Because we'll get onto that later.
Yeah.
Where they say something that kind of throws you off.
Yeah. So specifically with the first 6 episodes, because you're right, there is something later that I think it gets a little more complicated later. The first 6 episodes pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Leonardo is drawing a comic book about these events that we see in the first 6 episodes.
Yes.
Straightforward. But is he talking about events that he's just making up? Or is he talking about events that happened and maybe he's exaggerating them a little bit?
Maybe. I like that idea, that concept, that he's drawing out the stories
that he just went through with
his brothers. Me too.
the idea that all these adventures never happened kind of is a bummer if that's true. You know what I mean? But maybe it's in. Then I started thinking maybe it's in place because maybe there's something with like the people that make the movie that they're like, well, you can make a show in our universe, but if you guys write something that contradicts what we're going to do in our next movie, you got to write it in a way where we can easily be like, well, that never happened.
That makes sense.
That's what I'm thinking happened, because this is in the same universe as a movie universe that we go to the theaters to see.
Yes.
So I'm thinking it was something like that. And if I had to guess, they're going to keep the parts that make sense with the movie, and the parts that don't make sense, they're going to be like, well, it was just the story that he told.
So maybe it all did happen, and maybe the exaggerated bits are the parts they're going to leave out.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That if I had to guess, that's where I put my money.
That would make the most sense.
Yeah.
It would definitely fit with the Turtles.
At least for the first 6 episodes. The next 6 episodes we'll talk about in a minute. That was kind of hard for me to follow, but
I was so confused. But
so the Turtles get split up.
Yes.
They go to a dock to investigate some like mutant alerts that they're getting on their phone.
Yes.
And something happens at the dock. At the first, you don't know what happens. It's like you get these little flashes of an explosion. Things are happening, and the turtles all get like thrown to different parts of the city because of the explosion, right? And
Leo wakes up in a trash can.
Yes.
In a random alleyway with the robot still chasing after him.
Yes.
If I'm correct. He was trying to call April, and they were supposed to be at this party with all the turtles. It was like a costume party. I think this supposed to be around Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of this, so it sounds like it's all a school of friends, right? Or at this party. The turtles don't go to school at all.
Yeah.
In this show. And I thought it was like that's what we were going to be doing in this show, but no school at all. You don't even see them in their regular clothes, like how you saw at the end of the Mutant Mayhem movie.
Yeah, that's a bit like disheartening. I kind of wanted to see that.
Well, they kind of seemed like that's what they were leading to. And not only that, there's like toys for Tales of the TMNT that have come out that show them in their regular clothes, but they never do that in the show.
It's odd.
Yeah, it was odd. It was odd. It was almost like they changed something up last minute or something. Yeah, so sorry, just wanted to mention that because I thought that was an interesting detail. So yeah, the turtles get split up. Leo's on his own. He's getting chased by the robot. The robot is learning ninjutsu faster because it's AI, right? It can like a minute for AI is like 100 years to us. You know what I mean? So it can learn something a lot faster than we can learn it.
Yeah.
And so it learns ninjutsu and it's trying to kill Leonardo. They get to a fight, right? At the party.
Yes.
April's there. They're in the building. They get attacked by the robot that was chasing Leonardo because he's able to lose it at first. But it gets back to him. I forget how. I think he uses like a cell phone or something.
I'm pretty sure.
Someone will let us know in the comments.
I'm pretty sure it reads his text message.
Yeah, right?
That he was going to the party.
Yeah.
But they crack a little joke at Leo saying that he had a really cool costume, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because if they went to the same school as him, wouldn't they know?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I do remember there's other kids dressed up as Ninja Turtles at the party, and they're like, you should probably take that off because there's a robot coming after us.
Oh, yes, I do remember that. Yeah. That was funny.
And so, yeah, anyways, the robot catches up to them at the party. The robot attacks Leo and April there, and there's a cool like fight sequence on the fire escape here, and Leonardo actually like cracks it with the axe that April gives him, and it hits the robot like in the junk. And then, so yeah, he hits it in the junk or something, and it like walks away.
It walks away leaking the oil or some mysterious liquid.
Right. And then the fight's over, right? Is that the end of the episode? I forget how it ends. Anyway, Leo gets attacked by a robot. It's crazy. He gets the upper hand at the end, and then it looks like the robot takes off and then goes to repair itself.
Whoa! Leo, duck!
You almost hit me! Oh, you got it right in the junk.
Sorry, I never swung a fire axe before.
Now we're jumping over into episode 2. This one is Mikey Does the Right Thing. And this starts us off at the events at the docks where there's that big explosion when they got lured there by Bishop, who made them seem like there was a bunch of mutant alerts going off there.
Yes, but this time isn't it Mikey who's saying how it went down?
Yeah.
Last episode, it was Leo who was talking about how it went down, and he said it a little bit differently than Mikey.
Which is funny little bit they do for all the turtles. And I think one of them had a really cool one where it was like a video game.
Yes.
Was that Donatello?
That's Donatello.
Yeah, that one was good.
That one was really good.
But yeah, Mikey's is funny. His is almost like a drawing type sequence where it looks like little drawings. And it shows that he saves this new character of Rod, played by Pete Davidson. The Mechazoids, at least in Mikey's Tale, it is told that the Mechazoids like turned on him.
Yeah.
And they're not supposed to turn on humans. They're only supposed to go after mutants.
Yes.
And that Mikey had to save him, Rod.
But Rod still thinks he's a hostage.
Yes.
While they're driving away.
They're driving away in a garbage truck. The Mechazoid is after them. And Mikey is able to pin the Mechazoid down with like the garbage truck, right? And they run off into an alley. And they're able to lose it for a little bit.
And I'm pretty sure it loses an arm and a leg, and he replaces it with a bicycle.
Yes. Again, a continuing trend that we saw, like we saw in the Leo episode.
Yes.
These machines, when they get destroyed or hurt, they're able to patch themselves up, and they come back as something else. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so Mikey and Rod get away. They go towards like a zoo or something because I forgot why they end up by the zoo.
Rod, I think, wants Mikey's mutant blood, and that's the only way he'll get him to call off this mission. Because, by the way, Rod's dad works with Bishop, pays for all her stuff.
Yes.
And she's the one sending these mutants the robots after the mutants.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Rod says he'll call his dad to get her to call it off, and he'll stop funding it if she stops. And the only way Rod will do this is if Mikey gives him some of his mutant blood.
So that way he can turn into a mutant. At least that's the theory. There hasn't been a human turned into a mutant in this universe.
That's just a little odd.
This will be the first time if he is able to do this. His dad is a little bit of a mysterious figure. I think you get to see him once, I think
you get to see him once.
And they don't really touch on like how he got rich, I don't think.
No.
To me, it felt like they were setting up a villain.
Yes.
That's how it felt to me, like a villain even bigger than Bishop.
Which would be crazy.
Yeah, so we'll see if that pans out. They end up by a zoo, because now, you're right, he wants Mikey's blood, and the zoo probably has, things...
The equipment.
Yeah, because they have like an animal hospital in there. They go inside, and they have to deal with security in there.
They destroy all the cameras. Mikey does it because Rod can't get over the fence.
Yes, that's right. Yes, because Rod's a little out of shape.
Yeah,
and Mikey's like, do what I do.
Yeah,
yeah, and he's like, I can't do it, but he's trying his best.
And he keeps saying, when he turns into a mutant, he'll get these powers.
Yeah,
but Mikey goes, sure,
yeah,
sure you will.
And he gives him like a placebo, right? He doesn't give him his actual blood event. He gives him like a blood. He's like, he doesn't even know what he gives him.
Yeah, later on, I think he gave him monkey blood.
That's what he says. Yeah, he's like, I think it was monkey blood or something. And so it doesn't change Rod.
No.
But this is when they get interrupted by the robot. The robot catches up to them again, right?
Yes.
And fight happens.
The security guard as well. The security guards see them on the cameras, and they go over there. And then a little side story was with the security guards teasing this bear with chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
And then this bear shows up in the room with them. It broke out because Mikey disabled the security.
Right.
And so while the security guards get there, so does the bear.
Right. And then there's this,
everybody's fighting.
And they're using the chocolate as like the bait for the bear. So like they'll throw the chocolate at the security guards.
Yes.
So the bear, I remember that. You're remembering this better than I am. Because I forgot a lot of this, and you're making me remember a lot of this. Yes. Then the robot shows up. And gets kind of involved in that fight.
Yes. But they start throwing the chocolate at the robot.
And then the bear attacks the robot, right. There is one moment in that fight, though, where Mikey ends up alone with the robot in a bathroom or something.
Yes.
And Mikey kind of goes ham on it.
He does. He tells Rod to get out of there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this was after or before the introduction of Pigeon Pete. But
that's right, Pigeon Pete.
As they were fighting, the actual mutant blood gets hit out of Mikey's hand and into a trash can.
Mm-hmm.
And Rod goes after it. But a pigeon goes in the trash can and drinks it because it cracked in the trash can.
And we get our new version of Pigeon Pete.
Pigeon Pete.
Which is a highlight of the show.
Dude, loved Pigeon Pete.
Especially at the very end. Later on, he becomes... To me, he was really funny at the end.
He was the whole show.
He made the finale.
Yes.
Yeah, I forget how they lose this robot, but Mikey defeats it.
Mikey defeats it, and I think later on we see that it repaired itself with bathroom stuff.
Right, because that's where Mikey beats it, isn't
That's
that?
where Mikey...
Yeah, in that final bathroom fight.
I believe in you. You're everyone's favorite turtle.
You really think so? I mean, I agree with it, but I mean...
Raphael's episode's next, actually, and that was Raphael Thinks It Through.
Yes.
And same thing with him. He's having, at the beginning of his episode, he's having a flashback at what happened at the docks.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's an explosion, just like we saw in the other explanations of what happened at the docks. And he wakes up still at the docks, but like more like in a different part, right?
I think he got blown into the water, and he washes up ashore, and the purple dragons show up.
Yes, he coughs up a turtle too.
He coughs up a turtle, which was really funny.
And everybody was saying like this is like a nod to Slash because he's kind of like a little pet turtle, like in the 2012 show.
But they make a very funny joke where if this little turtle spits out another turtle, I'm going to lose it. Which
that was funny. Yeah, there's some good jokes.
There's a lot of good jokes in this show.
Yes, that's for sure. It's the purple dragons, and they tie him up, right?
I think they hit him with a brick.
Yeah, that's later. That's when they meet Hun.
Okay.
At the beginning, they just tie him up, and they put him in like a truck or something.
Yes.
And he wakes up, and he's like, "Who are you guys?" And they're like, "We're the purple dragons." And he's like, "Did you tie me with a cord?" And he rips it really easily, right? Then he's about to beat him up, but the truck that they're in stops, and he falls out of it. And then we get Hun, who walks over to him with the brick.
Yes.
And then he gets whacked in the head with a brick, which you said you saw something on the brick.
I noticed a face on the brick that looks really similar to the Ed and Eddie plank.
Okay. Do you think it was like an Easter egg to that?
I think it was very much an Easter egg to that, because it even had the same eyes. One was bigger, one was smaller, and the smiley face.
And then like one of the eyes have like a circle around it or something too, just like the plank did in the show. Yeah, so that might have an Ed and Eddie Easter egg in the show there. And yeah, so Raphael gets knocked out by old Hun. Or by Hun.
Just
I call him Old Hun. I'm confusing him with Old Hob.
Yes.
Sorry. Then Raphael gets knocked out and wakes up inside of like a warehouse now. And inside of the warehouse is like almost like a chicken plucker factory.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of chickens and like a plucking machine. And this one I remember the least. Like there's a lot of stuff here that seems important. It seems like a lot of important details happen all at once here.
Well, we find out Hun's an animal person.
Yep.
He has chickens wearing sweaters, and he puts little arms on them so they can defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And Raphael is tied up, and he's like, "If you're so nice, why do you have me tied up?"
Right.
And he's like, it kind of contradicts what you're saying.
Right.
And Raph starts talking about how he's going to break out of here.
Yep.
He's going to beat everybody up.
And they kind of face off a little bit.
They kind of face off.
And right before they're about to fight,
Hun mentions Kitsune.
Which was at first I thought he said Karai. And I was like, oh, they're going to introduce Karai. And I thought it was Karai when she shows up later. And then you guys told me, no, they said Kitsune.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that's like the IDW character?
Yeah. It's so weird because it doesn't look anything like her. But
just so for those who haven't read the IDW comics, in the IDW comics, Kitsune is like an ancient like demigod being that's lived for like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And she's part of this family of other demigods. And I wonder if they're doing the same with her here. Yeah.
I don't know, because it seems like she's living a normal life as like a mobster on Earth.
Yeah.
Like she owns the Purple Dragons.
Yeah, she's in charge of the Purple Dragons. Yeah.
And Hun's very scared of her. But we see she walks out, and she's an older lady. Kind of on the shorter side. And Raphael starts laughing.
Right.
Raphael starts laughing. He says, "This is who you're scared of?" And Hun starts getting hesitant because he's like...
He doesn't want to like piss her off. Yeah.
And Raphael starts going on about how there's a robot chasing him.
Right. Yes.
And if they don't free him,
it's going to come in and get everybody, even the chickens. He tries to like pull on Hun's heartstrings there. One thing we forgot to mention is Angel also gets introduced here.
Yes.
So yeah, Angel rolls up on her motorcycle into the warehouse, right? And this is kind of when we first see her, so we're kind of going back a little bit. And you kind of get the sense that her and Hun are co-leading the Purple Dragons underneath Kitsune, who we just talked about. What did you think of Angel, that whole dynamic between her and Han, and then them working under?
I like it because she seems to be the short, meaner, tougher one, and Hun seems to be a big softy.
He's like the muscle, but like inside, he's the softy, And I like the dynamic. It was cool. It's nice seeing Angel again. And back to the part you were talking about where Kitsune shows up and they're both scared of her. Yeah. It seems like. And they're like, you should be careful how you talk to her. They're kind of trying to warn Raphael. And then I forget how Kitsune ends up leaving. She takes like a call or something?
She ends up saying that whatever Raphael was saying about the robot was fake.
Right.
She was like, why would you come up with that? You could have said anything else. And it does sound like fake. It doesn't.
Far-fetched.
Yeah. And so she leaves. She takes a phone call. She says, I got to go somewhere, I think. And she leaves. And I think that's how...
Then the robot comes in.
Yeah, the robot comes in.
Through the ceiling.
Yep.
And a big fight starts, right? Raph's kind of like, untie me so I can help you guys. You guys are going to lose to this robot. And eventually, I forget how, I think Raph gets loose, and then Raph's able to now... Well, he looks like he's going to run away, right?
He grabs the I think he just tries leaving. Yeah,
and then he looks back, and he sees that they're losing the fight, and he's like, I better go help them.
Yes.
And so he goes back to help them. They are able to defeat the robot eventually, if I remember correctly. And Raph tells them... How does he get away with the motorcycle? So he just kind of sneaks away with it?
He kind of just sneaks away.
After he beats the robot.
What is that, a brick? Yep, looks like a brick, all right.
Let's move on over to the Donatello episode. Donnie Hangs Tough, I believe it was called.
My favorite.
Yeah, this was one of the best episodes of the series. Donatello, again, his retelling is that video game version, which we thought was pretty cool. I think it was the best retelling out of all the retellings.
Yes, it was like retro, like arcade style. And I loved that, how it was pixely, and they told the story funny like that. It was just perfectly animated.
Yeah, and then I don't forget how he ends up in the subway station, but the robot chases him, and then he goes into like an elevator or something that takes him down to a subway station where when he pops out of the elevator, there's two cops standing there.
Yes.
And he Donatello passes out as he steps out of the elevator, and so the two police officers bring him into the police station.
Yes.
When he wakes up, he's handcuffed to the table, right? And they're asking him questions like, what happened? And he's like, well, there's a robot chasing me. Like, you guys got to listen to me. It's going to be here soon. They have the robot's arm, which Don was able to break off of the robot at some point during the fight earlier when he was trying to get away from it. And it works as a homing beacon, right? Because as soon as they activate the little hand, the robot comes in through the ceiling and starts attacking the police officers.
Yeah, we find out that they weren't even taking him really serious about this robot.
No.
And that he wasn't even under arrest.
Yes.
They just wanted him for this book that they were writing together so that they could stop being cops.
Yes, they want to retire and write a book together.
Yeah. And they call the hand a fancy back scratcher. That's all it looks like to them.
Yes. But this is obviously a mistake because the robot comes in and is about to kill them, it looks like. And then Donatello, who's also about to leave, like Raphael, turns around and is like, I better help these guys.
I'm pretty sure he escaped by one of the cops was fighting the robot off, and he steals the key off of the back.
100%, yeah.
And he unties both of his hands, and he's, like you said, about to leave. Turns around, realizes he has to help them.
And he does, and after he does, he steals their laptop.
He steals their laptop, and he tells the robot, he says, hey, stop hunting humans, you're hunting me.
Right.
And so the robot starts chasing him, and he says, hey, I'm going to need this. And he takes the laptop.
And we get this big old chase scene throughout the subway station. There's even a moment where he kind of traps the robot a little bit, like on like a gate or something, and he's talking to Bishop through the robot, like, "Why are you trying to kill us?"
Yep.
And Bishop talks back to him like, "You're a threat to humanity or something, just your existence or something like that." And yeah,
the robot breaks off those bars that you're trying to go through.
Yep.
And he replaces his arm with it because the officers obviously were.
There is a fly in the room.
Get the electric fly swatter.
It's Superfly. He's back. So, yeah. Sorry, what were you?
So the hand that the officers had earlier, obviously the robot didn't have it anymore. It was detached from his body. So he used those metal bars as a replacement.
Right. Yeah, the little thing you walk through, right? Yep. And the chase starts off again.
Yes.
And this time Donnie's actually in a subway train.
Yes.
And in the subway train, the people recognize him. Like the turtles are famous in this.
They start asking for autographs and photos, and he goes, "Now's not the best time.
There's a robot after me." Eventually, Donatello finds himself in the driver's like cockpit, I guess, of what I don't know what you would call conductor's like train part, and he's with the conductor, and he's trying to hook up to the Wi-Fi or something on the train.
Yeah, because he had no signal down there.
Yeah.
And he was like, the best place is where there's an antenna.
Yep. And I forget why he's trying to hook up. I think he's trying to find where his brothers are or something.
He's trying to hack into the robot.
Oh, that's right. He's trying to hack into Bishop's, like,
Yes.
Bishop's, like, control panel or whatever through the robot to, like, shut them down. And the Wi-Fi is not working, and the conductor says it's something on the roof of the train that you have to, like, get access to get better connection. And so he goes up there, he connects to it, and I think he's able to shut down the robot at some point.
Yes. Bishop this whole time is talking to him. She never talked to any of the other three turtles, which I think she kind of has some respect for Donnie.
Yeah.
Because of how smart he is.
That's true. It was kind of like a battle of the wits there.
And she even says, "You're not going to be able to crack this firewall, I'm pretty sure, my software."
Right.
And he goes, "I did it."
Yeah.
Instantly like that. And she starts freaking out, and he shuts down the robots.
And then that's pretty much it for Donnie's episode, right? Then after that, we'll move on to the next one, which is...
Well, there was an Easter egg or not an Easter egg, but a nice effect I liked for those first 4 episodes, which was all the lighting in each episode.
That's right. I remember you saying this.
The first 4 episodes, the lighting depended on which turtle. So Leo's episode, the lighting was mostly blue.
Yep.
In Michelangelo's second episode, the lighting was orange.
Yep.
And so on. Raphael, red. And Donnie in the subway station was purple, which I really liked.
And then I think when the turtles get together, like the lighting's green.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, in like certain scenes, like a lot of important scenes.
Yes.
What? No. Decline call. Where were we, mutant?
Just here chillin'.
So episode 5 is Bishop's backstory. Bishop makes a move.
Right.
And this goes into why she's doing this, why she has robots, and Rod's dad a little bit. We can see a little bit about him.
That mysterious character, that we spoke of earlier. Yep.
And so this episode starts off with her doing a presentation to him, Rod's dad. And she's showing off the robots for her friend who lost both her legs, and she wants the robot to help her like do things around the house that she can't do. And Rod's dad says, "I don't want to hear it." He goes, "If you can give my son a job, I'll pay you as much as you need."
Right.
Because he was like, Rod doesn't do anything. He's like, he just sits around. He wants him to have something.
Right, yeah.
And so Rod dad funds it. She says, of course, we can find a place for Rod. And that's where that goes.
And then something happens, though, after she gets funded, right? She begins working with Rod. And then during one of the days when they're working together, you start seeing the events of Mutant Mayhem.
Yes.
So yeah, this is like a flashback episode. I don't know if we mentioned that.
We didn't, but
this is a flashback episode of like how you were saying, Bishop's origin, pretty much. And we see during, like, now that she's been funded by Rod's dad and working with Rod in this like workshop, that their building gets destroyed by Superfly, by Super Duper Fly, like during the final events of the Mutant Mayhem movie. Like, he destroys the building. They all get covered by like rubble. And when the first thing she sees when she comes out of the rubble is the 4 turtles. And they're all sitting like on the rubble, kind of like, I think like making jokes, like bantering like they were in the movie. And obviously to them they're on an adventure because this is like,
I enjoyed this. I liked seeing a different perspective.
Me too.
Of the movie.
Me too. That was cool.
That was really cool.
Again, is it in continuity? It kind of made it seem like again, those are the parts where I'm like, well, maybe it is in continuity because why else would they show something like this? So they shows this rubs her the wrong way though.
Yeah,
because to her, she just experienced a horrific accident that
the robots all got destroyed.
All her technology and the turtles are just goofing around, jumping about, and so to her that rubs her the wrong way, and she's like, these mutants are freaking dangerous. Like, they all gotta go. And that kind of kicks off like her villain story. Like that's how she becomes the bishop that's after the turtles and trying to kill them that we're seeing now in the present. And we see that earlier how we were seeing all the mutant alerts pop up on their phone. That kind of lured the turtles to the docks where it exploded and kind of scattered them. Yeah, she was the reason behind those alerts going off. And when the turtles get there, you see that hologram.
Yep. It was like a weird pig mutant thing. Yep. And they get there and they were like, what is this?
Yeah.
Is it real? Mikey or
goes to touch it,
goes to touch it.
And he's like, no, it's just a hologram. And then boom, lights come on.
Mm-hmm. And Bishop and Rod are up there.
Yep.
And they start saying about how they fell for her plan, or she starts saying how they fell for her plan.
Yep.
And that she's going to destroy them. And then they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Like, we saved the city.
They have no clue what they're talking about.
They don't know her perspective of what she saw when her building and technology got destroyed. They just think, like, we're heroes. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And then I think the robots come in. She calls the robots in.
Yep.
And that's when all this fighting goes on.
Yeah, big action sequence. Probably one of the biggest of the series.
Yes, because it's all the turtles. They're all working together, doing their own separate things, but they're calling out to each other. Hey, you go here. You go here.
Which we didn't see as much of that in the Mutant Mayhem movie. You see more of it here, which I liked.
I liked a lot.
There's actually some things from the show that I liked more than the movie.
I think this dove into a lot more that the movie needed.
Yeah, me too.
The movie needed something like this before it.
Yeah, they have that one like garage fight sequence, but this one was cooler.
This one was cooler. This one established their roles more.
Yeah. And the banter between the turtles was fun. They really flowed with each other really well here.
Yeah.
So the Leonardo comes up with a plan, right? Because at first they're kind of losing, and Leonardo comes up with a plan to drop like one of the shipping containers on the robots.
Yes.
But he doesn't realize that it's filled with
fireworks.
Yeah, and when they drop it, that's what causes the explosion that we saw at the beginning of the whole series that split everybody up.
So after the explosion, it cuts to Bishop looking at the aftermath, thinking she killed the turtles.
Yeah, she's happy.
Yeah, she starts laughing and she gets away and drives without even seeing if Rod's there.
Right, yeah.
Because apparently his only job was to be the snack planner. And
I remember that.
So when she gets to her lab or her facility, she walks into the room with a bunch of monitors to see how the robots are. And she sees all four of them. And the turtles are beating them.
Right. She sees that they're still alive.
Yeah. And she gets frustrated. And I think Rod's dad calls her.
Around this time, yeah. She thinks it's Rod calling her, so she actually answers. Because she's kind of been ignoring him this whole time. And so she thinks it's Rod. And she picks up the call, but it's actually the dad. You're right.
Yep. And he starts asking about how Rod's doing, which he's not there. He's getting attacked by that robot with Mikey. And he was like, I'll take away your funding if he's not happy. And so Bishop plays it off as if Rod's still there. He's happy. He's loving it. But in actuality, he's not. He's getting attacked. He wants to be a mutant.
Right. That's right.
So that's where
that's how it got started. She wanted to go after them individually because she found out that they were alive. But now they've beat the robots. The turtles have.
Yep.
At least from what we saw in those earlier episodes, and so now they're coming to her headquarters.
Yeah,
I forget how, but each one of the turtles finds a way to get back to her headquarters throughout all of their, adventures with the Mechazoids.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the last episode of the first half of season 1. So, like, this was, if this would have, by the way, what did you think of them dropping this all at once? I was going to say that, yeah.
I did not like that. It just put too much on my plate that I could not eat at once.
Yeah, I thought they were going to drop it weekly.
Weekly would have been so much better.
It would have been cool to come on here every week and discuss this.
Yes.
But, like, that's crazy that they just dropped it all at once.
It kind of makes sense for how short the episodes were.
But they were standard.
But they were standard TV show, like you would get on cable, like where they come out every week, a 20-minute episode. And, yeah, it didn't make sense to me.
I thought it was bizarre. I thought they were... it's fine. It was like getting one big Ninja Turtles movie that's like 4 hours long, but I think I would have preferred it weekly.
It would have lasted 3 months of episodes weekly.
Yeah.
Which I would have tuned into every week.
Me too.
And yeah, I don't know. I think it was a missed opportunity.
Me too. I agree. Anyways, so why I said that is because like this episode, the next one we're going to talk about, episode 6, would have been the mid-season finale.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Because this is the end of that first arc.
Yeah.
And this is where you get the turtles all back together, but in the present.
Mm-hmm.
And the turtles are all kind of showing up to her headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
First, it's Leonardo and April.
Yep.
I think they arrive first, and they kind of sneak in.
Mm-hmm. So after Leo and April break in, it cuts over to Raphael already in her facility.
That's right. He shows up there, too, at the same time Leo's showing up.
And it's showing him suiting up in armor, putting his size in like these little wrist things.
Yeah, because he's like finding robot parts all throughout her facility. And he's like, yeah, you're right. He's strapping it on himself.
Yep.
Because he knows he's in for a fight right now.
Which I think is really cool.
That was cool, yeah.
I really like how they did that. Mm-hmm. And he starts talking to her off of the speaker. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. You hate mutants, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, show yourself so you can fight me.
Right.
Which she does. And in last episode, it ended off with her saying, activate this thing, whatever she said.
Yeah.
And we see red lights go off and a suit rises up, a robot suit that she's inside controlling.
Right. She's got like a Mechazoid suit of her own, but it's like bigger than the Mechazoids. It's like really big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Raph starts fighting it. And I'm pretty sure Leo and April realize that speaker's not talking to them.
Because for a while there, they thought what Bishop was saying, she was saying it to them, but you're right. They realized that there's someone else there.
Yes.
And it's Raph.
They asked, they were like, which one of my brothers is it?
Yeah.
And so they head over there, they find out it's Raph, and they start teaming up, Raph and Leo.
To fight Bishop.
And then they tell April to go to the control room and try to shut things down.
Right.
So she goes off, and happily too. She doesn't want to fight that robot.
Mikey shows up next. I think he's the next one to show up there with Pigeon Pete, by the way. And he joins the fight. And then Donatello does too we forgot to mention the Donatello episode that he creates Metalhead out of the robot Mechazoid he was fighting.
Yes.
That he defeated.
He took parts of that robot, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Pretty sure he took its head. Mm-hmm. And he says that he was going to do something with it. And this is when he shows up, and Metalhead shows up as well.
And I thought Metalhead was cool.
I thought he was a really good character.
Yeah, me too. And he joins the fight with the turtles, and now all the turtles are together fighting the Mechazoids. And it gets to a point, I believe, where Bishop, I forget how, but she realizes that the Mechazoids are going after humans now.
Yeah, it's going after Rod.
Yep.
And she goes, he's not a mutant. It's just his eyes. And they start thinking that she's a traitor.
Right.
They go, she's protecting mutants. Get her.
Yeah, and then they start going after her as well.
Yes.
And this causes a temporary team up between the Turtles, Bishop, and Rod. Everybody's now temporarily teamed up. So next we move on to this team up of them coming up with a plan. They kind of go, well, let's kind of scurry away. That way we have time to come up with some type of a plan here.
Yes.
And that plan is to set off this electromagnetic pulse, like up in the air, that's going to shut down all the robots at once.
Yes, but the robots figure out a way to turn on every robot in that factory.
Right. So it's like a big fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And so those robots go off to go kill humans, mutants, anything. And so they were like, we're better than everybody. That's what robots were saying.
Yes. And then, so the Turtles and Bishop put their plan into action. It gets pretty close to where they're not going to do it, but eventually they set off the electromagnetic pulse. I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
And when they do this, they defeat the Mechazoids, but it inadvertently kills Metalhead.
Yeah. And Pigeon Pete, because without him, they wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah, it doesn't kill Pigeon Pete. Pigeon Pete's the one that makes the EMP
It injures
go off.
him.
Does it injure him? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it injures him.
He's the one that grabs, because Bishop is trying to take the EMP to a certain height, right?
Yes.
To make it go off and kill the
that's the
robots.
only way it would work.
Yeah.
And the robot grabs her, makes her drop it.
Yes.
It starts falling.
Yeah.
And then Pigeon Pete swoops out of there, grabs it, and goes high enough. At 0 seconds, goes off. And I'm pretty sure inadvertently he gets hurt a little bit. Not too bad.
No, because we see him later on. But yeah, that's pretty much the end. That's how they defeat the Mechazoids, and Metalhead's gone.
But they do give us hope and say they can just fix him up.
They did say that.
Yes.
And there's one little thing, like a little teaser at the end, with Bishop being approached by the Earth Protection Force, which the Earth Protection Force is, in the past versions of the Turtles, with those past versions of Bishop, they've been hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I felt was a little strange about this version of Bishop. Like, why isn't this version of Bishop like a special agent? That's kind of what Bishop always is. And it does seem like they are taking the character in that direction. This is more of just how she got started.
Yeah, her first steps in where it got her.
Yeah, because the person that's recruiting her into the Earth Protection Force, they look like an agent. Like how, the usually...
And she won't be needing Rod's dad's funding anymore, so she obviously probably will get rid of Rod. Right. Which is why I think Rod's dad will be on the Turtle side, because Rod will be on the Turtle side.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah.
But I also think he's going to want them to turn him into a mutant some way. Or maybe not. Because...
Well, I think they teased him being Mutagen Man at one point.
Maybe.
So he may be this version of Mutagen Man. We'll see. But that pretty much does it for the first half of Tales of the TMNT. That was a lot.
Yeah.
Let's kind of go into a few comments here that subscribers left for the series. Okay. We'll try to just kind of talk about the ones that have to deal with like the first half.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot, so we're going to split this into two, actually. Yeah. We just realized that as we were talking here. So we'll do a review of Tales of the TMNT, part 1, and then we'll do a part 2 as a separate podcast episode, and we'll talk about more subscriber comments in that one as well. But let's go into the few that we have here for this first episode.
Metalhead, he didn't make it. But he's a robot. We can probably just turn him on later. We totally won.
All right, to close out the episode, we're going to go to some subscriber comments about the new series and see what you guys had to say. This one's coming over here from Stomping Rabbit, and they said, absolutely loved the animation and overall pacing of the episodes, especially in the Bishop arc, and how every turtle gets to tell their own side of the story.
Yeah.
I like that too.
I said that earlier in the video. I liked how we got to see the turtles. I liked how we saw them on their own, see their stories.
I do like how they all get to also tell their own version of what happened. I think that's one of the things he's referring to there, like how they all get to tell. That was cool because they all do it in their own style.
Yes, how they said it in their own voices, how it all went down.
Exactly.
I like that too.
That was a good element. That was definitely one of the highlights of the first half.
Yes,
of season 1.
I loved that.
The next comment here is coming from Kay's Gaijin, I think it's pronounced. It says the second season needs a theme song.
Yes. This second season needs to have me like excited, hyped. Every time I start a new episode, I want to hear a theme song that I want to sing to.
Dude, that is... I wonder if they're going to even... I mean, are they too deep, though? Like, is it too late?
No.
Do they have to commit to this theme song?
No. They need to...
Right? Too many people are discussing it at this point, I feel like. It needs to be an actual theme song. Mm-hmm. Keep the same beat, but add lyrics to it.
Songs will make a character...
It's kind of like WWE. If you have a good theme song, like...
I'm going to root for you.
Yeah, it makes a difference, yeah. Let's go to the next comment here. This one's coming over here from Not Mephisto 1375, and they said, "It's a shame that they couldn't get Jackie Chan. Was not a fan of what they did with Splinter's voice. Would have preferred a sound-alike. Also, some of the turtles at certain parts sounded like the kids were just speaking in their regular real-life voices and not their character voices. Interesting. Overall, felt like a watered-down version of Mutant Mayhem, but still enjoyable. The episode with Mikey in the convenience store was peak chaotic energy." Okay, there's a couple different things he says there. The Jackie Chan thing is a glaring thing in the show.
Yes. I think in the first few episodes, they show him in one of them, and he's just speaking Vermin.
Right.
Which we saw in the movie as a joke. It was just a throwaway joke.
Yeah.
That he could speak Vermin for his girlfriend, and so they just have him speaking Vermin.
Right.
But I want to know what Splinter's saying. I want to hear somebody, even if it's not Jackie Chan.
Like a sound-alike, how they're saying here. I agree. I'm surprised they didn't get a sound-alike.
Me too.
This is one of the, along with the theme song, one of the big glaring things about the show. And there's more of this Vermin, the way he's talking. They handle it a little differently in the second half of the season, which we'll talk about when we break that second half down. But yeah, I think I wanted to hear Splinter.
Me too.
Yeah, even if it was a sound-alike.
I want to hear their wise dad chime in about everything.
And I don't know about like the turtle speaking in like the regular voice. That they sounded fine.
I heard a little bit of switching, but it's kind of like Ryan from The Boys.
Oh yeah.
His voice changes throughout the whole show.
Because he gets older,
He gets older, and that's what's going to happen.
I did notice Donatello's voice actor.
He sounded older than the movie.
Yeah, he's in like certain parts that you could tell they recorded later on.
Yes.
It got even deeper throughout the series as it went on.
And that's just what's going to happen when you have
teenagers.
Yeah,
that's true. I can't wait. Like, I hope they stay in the roles until they're adult. It'll be interesting to hear them as adults.
That will be interesting.
The next comment is coming over here from Bradley McComas. And they said, "I wish they would have done more with Metalhead and what happened to Bbop and Rocksteady. They kept saying something about them, but the last thing they remember is that they were good guys."
Listen, Bradley, I agree with Metalhead.
Yeah, me too.
I think Metalhead should have been way more in this. Like, I think he was such a good character.
And they just used him for that one episode.
A few minutes, and then they kill him off.
Yeah.
I really hope we see more of him.
Me too. I liked Metalhead a lot. Bbop and Rocksteady, by the end of Mutant Mayhem, they were good guys.
Yes.
And they were being mentioned a bunch, but you never see them.
We never saw them, which was kind of a...
Well, it is Seth Rogen and John Cena, so it's probably a lot harder to get a hold of.
Yeah. But, I mean, it would have been fun to see them. Even if they were just in a background shot, just animated.
Yeah, maybe.
Not saying anything.
Yep, that's true. The next one we have here is coming over here from Noah Garza. And they said, "Love the show, especially the first half." I would agree with that.
I would agree as well.
Yeah. But with the ending of the first half, I have a feeling that we're going to get Footbots, so foot soldiers, but robots, in this universe, and that they'll be based off of Bishop's design, but just modified. Let me know if you agree.
That's a cool theory. I like that. I mean...
the old cartoons had robot foot soldiers, so...
I mean, we haven't heard anything about a Foot Clan in this.
I did see one interesting thing of note when I was researching Mutant Mayhem. There is some concept art or something that one of the artists posted about there was early ideas in the story writing that the Foot Clan in this universe would have gotten their hands on mutagen, and they would have taken mutagen and they would have been like mutated foot soldiers, but not animals. They almost looked like just like creatures, but they were still looked like foot soldiers.
So it seems like they want to do a lot of mutant human stuff.
Yeah.
They want to go down that route.
Yeah, so we'll see what they actually do. But yeah, I wouldn't mind the foot robots either.
Me either. I mean,
that'd be cool.
The more foot soldiers, the better. I think.
That'd be interesting if they have two different kinds. Yeah.
Different kinds.
This one is just a comment that's coming from E.G. Garden, and they just said, I'm on episode 12, and the show is actually sick.
I think the show was good.
Yep.
I think it was very good. I think, in my opinion, I liked it more than the movie. I think now that we have the characters established and I know how they're like.
Yeah.
I didn't know that going into the movie. I didn't know how they were going to be or if I was going to like them.
I think I enjoyed it more than the movie, too.
Yeah.
It's not to diss the movie at all.
Not to diss the movie was great.
But I like the show better than the movie. I like the character designs of the turtles better
Yes.
in this than in the movie. In the movie, obviously, they look similar. It's the same turtles.
Yeah.
But something they did to them in these 2D versions, it's almost like they fixed Michelangelo's head and Raphael's head, and they just look more like the Ninja Turtles in this show.
I love their designs.
In the 2D, right? Yeah.
In the 2D version,
Yeah.
I love what they did with them.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So since you liked the show so much, did it make the movie better? Does the show actually make the movie feel a little better to you since you like this kind of more?
I feel like
It enhances the experience, I guess, because now you could watch like the movie and then move on to the show. Again, it's that whole is this in continuity?
it's in continuity.
That kind. Well, let's get to some of those.
Let's
here.
get to those.
Yeah. So we get a bunch of comments like this. So so right now it seems like the three biggest glaring things of this show that everyone's like, what's going on?
This is number one.
This is number one, but there's also the Splinter voice thing, and then the intro needs lyrics. So intro needs lyrics, Splinter needs to have voice actor, and then this thing which we're about to talk about. This comment's coming over here, and we're going to read a few of them. This one's coming over here from Maku Music, and they said, "Can you guys confirm if these events actually happen, or if they're just a part of Leo and Raph's imagination?"
I can't confirm anything because I don't know what's going on. I'm just as confused as everybody else who watches this.
Yeah.
I like to hope they were real and just very exaggerated.
Me too. I would like, yeah, exactly. You hit it right, nail it right on the head. I hope these things actually happened in their life, and this is their retelling of it into a comic for Leo, and then for Raphael, the way they did it, which we'll break down in the second half of this review. We get more comments like this. We got a lot of comments like this. This one's coming over here from Lord Pachotron, and they said, "I love the stories, animation, and voice acting. What I am not fond of is that the stories are presented as fiction within fiction, which breaks my emotional investment in them."
That breaks mine too.
Me too.
It makes me like I want to root for them, but I don't know if any of this happened.
Or if it matters.
Like,
what if, like, Mutant Mayhem 2 comes out and, like, Bishop is, like, a completely different character or something?
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? It's just, like...
That wouldn't make any sense.
Like, I hope they don't retcon too much just because this is in their heads, I guess, if you want to say that. You know what I mean? I hope they don't mess up the continuity too bad. I still would like them to try to make it all fit together.
Because I love this show. I wouldn't want it to all just be thrown away for a second in the second movie. Like,
You're right.
I want not a lot, but the main parts of this show to affect the movie.
Like, I want the Purple Dragons to stay as those people. Like, that was cool.
That was very cool.
And then the Kitsune thing, I want to know more about that.
Yeah, lean more into that.
Yep. My three biggest things are the three glaring things that we keep discussing in this review. I think if those would have been patched up, it would have just elevated it even higher.
Yep.
And that maybe some things to look at for season 2, maybe it's not let it happen as much, or maybe for it to be a little tighter, especially is this actually happening? They should approach it as this is actually something that happened, and we're just exaggerating it. That way, if they do need to loosely play with things, it was just part of the exaggeration. But it did actually happen. I would do that, but that's just my opinion. But that wraps it up for this part 1 of the review.
I think...
What'd you think of the first 6 episodes? Let's just talk about the first 6 episodes overall.
A lot of information.
Yeah, that was a lot.
A lot of information that we don't know if it's real.
Yeah.
Or if it's going to matter. But I like to hope so. And I loved it.
Yeah, in my head, this happened.
In my head, this happened. Loved it. want to see where it's going.
If there's any contradictions in the following movie, it's because they exaggerated it and they're retelling, and the Turtles retelling it. Yeah,
Yes.
that's how I'm going to look at it. But let us know what you guys think about it. Let us know down below in the comments. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Follow us on all the socials at the Old Turtle Den on X, Instagram, Facebook, all of it. We're on all of it. And subscribe if you're new, if you want to catch videos like this. And we'll see you guys in a little bit with another one. Take care.